let's get to it. We have a lot of basketball to cover in the NBA Finals. OKC tied up the NBA Finals series with a big win against Indiana last night. They were able to postpone back-to-back losses, which really I was like, okay, if you could blow that lead, like maybe like what we saw in game one, and they were able to hold on in the fourth quarter. But even though that was the last game last night, we have to go back to game one because that game was absolutely wild.
Breathtaking.
Definitely something that we'll probably see again more in these series. So just to get there, Tyrese Haliburton and the Pacers made their fifth postseason comeback after trailing from a 15-point deficit. And trailing from 15 points regardless and coming back is crazy, but to do that 5 times in the postseason, like, I can't even believe that's a record.
Oh, I can't believe it either, especially because I feel like some of the themes that we're seeing with teams pushing to have these comebacks, they're just trying to load up and get those 3-pointers. And like sometimes you hear about coaches talking about like not getting too cute with things, just getting the job done. So for their ability to just continue to cut at 15-point deficiencies and make it seem easy and to do it up against, you know, the final seconds, 3 seconds, it just speaks to, I think, the talent, but more so the composure on this team. I think that's something that's been really cool about watching the Pacers, more specifically Haliburton, is he has no sweat. He has he doesn't
no sweat. You're not tired.
He's not sweating anything, like no sweat, no nothing. And he just looks so cool, calm, collected, and composed, unbothered. I mean, I say that about the Panthers when we talk hockey and stuff, but like Pacers have that same vibe about them, and so does Haliburton. Like he's that guy who's like, screw how many seconds are left up here. Like, I got to hear that last buzzer before I think that we've been defeated.
The Pacers got the ball with 9 seconds left. And even then, there was no panic. And even when Haliburton hit the shot, he just had a very, like, yep, that's what I meant to do. I was like waiting for this, like, crazy reaction when he hit the shot. And he just kind of had this, like, I got it face to him, which is just mind-blowing, and especially with 0.3 seconds left on the clock. So I bet you, I can't even imagine what was going through OKC's minds. I mean, just like the defeat that sets in. But they were able to reclaim that and redeem that in game 2. But here's Tyrese Haliburton on that game-winning moment after the game.
Yeah, I think our conversation was more of a hypothetical because we thought Pascal got fouled there. You know, I was surprised there wasn't a call there. You know, we didn't really know. You know, with time on the clock, we saw it reset to 14 rather than a full shot clock. So at first we were talking about, do we trap twice and foul? And then we said, okay, there's a difference on the clock. Let's just be solid, get a stop, and then rebound and run. And, you know, Obi came up with it. I don't even know who came up with the rebound. I just know the ball ended up in Obi's hands, and then he passed it to me. So I thought we just did a great job of sticking with it and just, you know, staying solid. You know, in that situation, we had a couple dumb fouls. I had a couple dumb fouls there late in the fourth, sent him to the free throw line. But we just, you know, showed our chest. We're solid. Had to get a big rebound there. That's a big rebound, especially with the guys on the court they have with Dort and Caruso crashing the glass. And, you know, we got the rebound and just made a play on the offensive side. So, yeah, I'm obviously confident in my ability and feel like if I can get to, you know, that spot, I feel very comfortable in there. Yeah, just, you know, it's a shot I've worked on a million times and I'll work on a million times more. So, yeah, we just have confidence in that shot.
Well, it's very clear that he has worked on that shot a million times because that looked effortless, really. And like he said, the rebounds were so crucial because you don't get that rebound right off the bat. You also don't push it up the court quick enough. You lose a second, and that shot was scored with 0.3 left on the clock. So just to see the hustle that the Pacers had, I think is next level, and I think that's what's going to win you the championship.
Yep.
Obviously, they have to get back to that in Game 3 coming up, but I was really impressed just with his calm, cool collectedness, especially in such a short amount of time.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and he said it there. He's like, stay silent. And I mean, I don't think that means silent in terms of their communication out there on the court. I think that means silencing their minds, silencing overthinking the process, kind of leaning on what they've executed in practice, what they know they're capable of doing, and just taking that moment to show up and exist and execute versus like anything else. Because if anything, it looked like it was very non-silent when it came to OKC. You kind of saw some of their defleeting moments. You kind of saw where they were psyching themselves out a bit when the pace of the game was getting away from them. And it doesn't take the Pacers kind of speeding things up or trying to change anything to kind of force OKC out of their structure. It was just that ability to keep showing up and to manage the game and just to be so unbothered. I can't think of a better word. And I think he talks faster than the pace of his heart rate was probably even going in that moment,
great
honestly.
Conditioning. Whoever the Pacers trainer is, you're doing an amazing job. But just like you said, like managing the game, he talked about, hey, like okay, what's the situation going to be? You know, you have to know what the fouls are, how much time's on the clock, where's the ball going to be at? Are we going to get the rebound? Like what's going to happen with the shot, right? And so those are all like little game time situational things that the best teams are able to figure out either in a timeout or just on your own individually and get everyone else on the same page. Because if you don't call a timeout, you just got to go and you got to hope and pray that all of your teammates are on the same page.
Yeah, and speaking of same page, I think that there were some moments. I think you just mentioned rebounds a moment ago. Siakam was a key guy in terms of like not only coming up with key blocks for this team, but also some of the rebounds that you kind of saw OKC sitting back on, assuming that they had it. Like Siakam is in the mix to make sure that that rebound was going back to the Pacers and making sure it kept them in play and possession. So there was just so many consistent moments of management, as you mentioned, and of just these game time decisions and composures that they did so well. And to think that a lot of that really ramped up the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. We're talking about under 3 minutes.
Right, which worked. And even watching game 2 last night, I was like, okay, even though Pacers are down 17, you can never count them out. And I think that's what's exciting. That's why fans want to watch. But it's also real. Like, they've proven that they can make comebacks, especially with Haliburton. But there was something that we noticed that was a little different about Haliburton's press conference in game 1. He had his debut shoes on the table right next to the mic. And I can't imagine better marketing than this. I mean, these were his Puma Halley ones, and if I'm a young kid, Pacers fan, and I watch that game, I see his performance, and then he comes out, it was the shoes, I think he tweeted, right? Like, you can't ask for a better marketing pitch.
No, not at all. I mean, you hit the game-winning, what was it, a jump shot, and then before you know it, he's like, so one thing changed out there for me, by the way, and it just happened to be, I feel like that's so NBA. Like, if you have a moment and you have the ability to be like, oh, no, there's something on the market. My name's attached to.
The secret to the sauce today and pointed to the shoes right in the middle of his press conference. But you're right. Like, it's such an amazing way to be able to promote something as well. But you have to, you got to put the money where the mouth is. And that's what he did in that game, in game 1. And yeah, I mean, I don't love the color. It's like
I was going to say, what was your vibe on the shoe?
I love pink. Pink is definitely my favorite color. But it was kind of like a salmon pink. If I remember correctly from the photo, it was like a salmon pink. Probably not my favorite. I do like when the color matches the team uniform, though. Like, I'm all about that.
I am a big, like, all about matching kind of person. Or, like, so we've talked about it before here on Respect Your Game, like how your team at Boston College, like, you guys had your playoff color. Yes. That's different. You know what I mean? I don't mind the pop when it's like, this is for something so specific. Because I did that a lot in soccer. And it was the same as you guys' playoff color. But, yeah, like, every night, like, he's just going to be out here with, like, salmon kicks on and hoping that it's just going to be like the level up. Now, I believe, if I'm not having an eye situation here, coming back from vacation, that they are Puma. And that was like the only reason I was like kind of on board with it, because I was a bit of a Puma gal when I played soccer.
That was your cleat?
Pumas? Puma King was like the cleat, and they had this like poison pink pair, and it was just like lining. It was like a black cleat, pink lining, and it was so sick. And I used to, like, tournaments, I used to bet with my mom whether or not I could get the cleat or not. That was the only way I got any shoes. There was only one pair of Nikes that overcame the Puma King. But when I saw Puma, I was like, okay, he might be onto something here. But I didn't like the color either. I prefer him to match or just do a different color.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we'll see. There's a few more games left, and hopefully more game-winning moments that he could pull out, a new colorway.
More comebacks.
Yeah, right. No call. Yes. Well, that was the comeback kids in Indiana, so we won't have to wait too long for another finals game. The Indiana Pacers will play game 3 on Wednesday night, and we're looking forward to that.